5 weeks have passed in the NFL season, and we've got a little bit of sample size to work with our rookie QBs. We got to see Bryce Young play some games. We got to see some CJ Stroud. We got to see some Anthony Richardson ish. We haven't got to see enough Anthony Richardson because unfortunately the guy can't stay on the field. CJ Stroud, what we've seen so far is looking sensational, and so sensational that it's kind of giving Carolina Panthers fans a little bit of worry as they kind of project into the future. And they're like, damn, this CJ Stroud guy is looking pretty good. He was drafted 2 right behind the guy we drafted. If you're a Panthers fan, rate the worryometer 1 to 10.
Like a 6, I would say, because the Panthers are pretty easy to explain right now. The Panthers are a football team that the past 4 seasons has gone 5-11, 5-11, 5-12, 6-11. A football team that has been consistently like Sacramento Kings purgatory, added Bryce Young and nothing else. In fact, they got rid of their number 1 receiver and replaced him with nothing else.
No.
They dropped Bryce Young.
I will dispute the nothing else. Adam Thielen has been very good for my fantasy team. Thank you very much, sir. And Miles Sanders is a talented running back. I don't care what anyone in the Philadelphia Eagles organization said that was holding them back for years. Miles Sanders is good at football.
Miles Sanders is good at football. You know who else is good at football? Christian McCaffrey. He's no longer on that team. Carolina basically just took Bryce Young and dropped him into a 5-12 team. And he looks like a guy playing for a 5-12 team. Now, granted, he missed a game because of injury, but through the 4 games, he looks like a quarterback playing with a 5-11 team as a rookie, and he's been fine. The Panthers may be 0-5, but they are not the worst team in the NFL. Like, all of the advanced numbers back up the fact that just because they're 0-5 doesn't mean they're the worst team in the NFL. Like, they're kind of about the same team as last year, honestly. They're like the 24th best team in the NFL at this point, or 26th best team in the NFL. But yeah, panic meter like 6.5. I think the bigger worry for the Panthers is there's a world right now where you just traded Caleb Williams, Jalen Carter, and DJ Moore for Bryce Young. That's the thing that sets franchises back years, is like, no matter how good Bryce Young is, you cannot give up a number 1 draft pick, Jalen Carter, and DJ Moore in exchange for a franchise quarterback that you're unable to build around. That would be giving me more worry than any performance Bryce Young has given so far.
But again, just getting compounded by the fact that CJ Stroud has looked good. And I'll admit, I was skeptical of CJ Stroud. In fact, go back. We did a Bryce Young CJ Stroud video. We talked about it before on the channel. We both thought that Bryce Young was going into the better situation. Far and away was going into the better situation, because I mentioned the addition of Adam Thielen. I mentioned the Miles Sanders addition in a positive light. You know what else I mentioned in a positive light? Frank Reich. I thought the fact that he gets to start his career with an offensive-minded head coach was going to be to his benefit. But I look what's going on right now in Houston with DeMeco, defensive-minded head coach, former 49ers defensive coordinator, DeMeco Ryans. DeMeco has got a unit over there in Houston that is starting to become a little bit fun to watch. Will Anderson, also in the top 5, has been a huge addition for that team as well. But CJ Stroud is putting up production that not only a rookie quarterback it would be insane for, but for just any quarterback. Again, I've gushed over Purdy for weeks here because he doesn't put the ball in harm's way, no interceptions this season. Well, guess what? CJ Stroud also doing that. CJ Stroud has not been picked off yet this year. He would have led the game-winning drive for the Houston Texans this past week, a week after decimating the division-leading AFC North Pittsburgh Steelers. A week after doing that, he almost led a comeback drive, or would have led a comeback drive against the Atlanta Falcons. Apparently Desmond Ridder heard about our benching video and decided, you know what, I'm just going to pull one out of my ass here and win this game. Managed to get Younghoe Koo in field goal range, and Falcons stole that one. But this Texans team could have very easily had their 3rd win of the season, and it would have been impressive in doing it. So CJ Stroud deserves all the credit in the world for what he's doing, and I'm excited for his career. I mean, there's even a narrative starting to build. Is he the best young quarterback in the AFC South?
Not only is CJ Stroud doing it with all the points that you mentioned, in addition, his number 1 receiver is Nico Collins, and he has had 4 starting offensive linemen that have been out this year. Tunsil's back now, but Tunsil missed games early in the season. Kenyon Green, former first-round pick, he's on IR. His season, I think, might be over. Josh Jones, the guy they traded for to start at left tackle in place of Tunsil, he's been out so far this season. And Juice Scruggs, which is an excellent offensive lineman name. Juice Scruggs has been out for the entire season so far for the Texans. So doing this without his starting offensive line has been equally impressive for our guy, CJ Stroud. I heard the same points that you did, and just think CJ Stroud looks like a 10-year starter in the NFL right now. Like all the evidence so far is pointing to the fact that regardless of what the Texans do to support him, whether I forgot the name of the offensive coordinator, but he came from San Francisco, whether he is able to stay with Stroud for years and years, and whether or not the Texans are able to support him appropriately, CJ Stroud looks like a 10-year NFL starting quarterback. And that puts him in a class of one of the 16 best quarterbacks in the NFL, maybe the 12 best quarterbacks in the NFL. If I feel confident walking away saying that guy is going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL for 10 years. I think CJ Stroud has been really, really good and is on his way to winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. And even if the Texans finish kind of mid, I think they've already exceeded my expectations for this year. If they're a scrappy 7-10 who knocks a couple teams from the playoffs out, then I think you chalk this up as a very successful season for the Texans and feel like they're actually building towards something.
So Bobby Slowick is the name you were looking for. He was the passing game coordinator for the 49ers previously before falling to Miko over to Houston. So, if CJ Stroud's season continues, Bobby Slowick is going to be at the top of most vacant head coaching list or demand for hiring a new OC. So Bobby Slowick putting his name out there. You mentioned that you have reaffirmed that CJ Stroud is a 10-year starter in the NFL. I would like to say, based off what I've seen when he's on the field, that Anthony Richardson has shown a similar ability to be a 10-year starter in the NFL. The problem is the fact that he's been hurt 3 times in the first 5 weeks of his NFL career has me wondering if Anthony Richardson could even be a 5-year starter in the NFL, not to any fault of his own other than through injury, because we know how physical he is. We know how gifted of an athlete he is, but he just can't keep playing this way if it's going to keep knocking him out of the game. So he has a shoulder injury he's dealing with right now. He's going to miss a few weeks. That's what the word is out of Indianapolis. And it's a shame because I thought that out of these 3 quarterbacks, especially in his rookie year, he could have shined with Shane Steichen as the head coach in Indianapolis. We talked about Anthony Richardson before on another video, and we said that he does have the skills in this offense to succeed. He can't succeed if he's doing it on the sidelines. And that's what we've seen a lot about Anthony Richardson. So health is a big factor for any NFL player, but how much more concerned are you seeing Anthony Richardson through the early goings here?
I mean, the injuries are a big deal, right? Anthony Richardson is a quarterback with a big physical body, and if injuries start to derail his career, it's one thing that could fall one after the other. Now, granted, the 2 injuries they had so far are concussion and shoulder, which last time I checked are 2 of the most chronic injuries that you can find so far for quarterbacks or for any NFL players in terms of like possibility for this having long-term effects on your career. I don't know where Anthony Richardson stands at this point, but I know that, and this is something that we probably all overlooked the start of the season, the Colts are very talented. The Colts are a team that used to be, in the 7th seed purgatory going between the Carson Wentzes and the Phillip Rivers and everything else. Most of those talented players still play for the Colts, and the Colts are probably the second best team in the AFC South. I think talented players supporting a quarterback like Anthony Richardson or Gardner Minshew for at least the next month or so, it would look like. Supporting Anthony Richardson or Gardner Minshew in the short term leads to results like beating the Baltimore Ravens. In the sense for the Colts, I Indianapolis didn't really have any sample size to work with on Anthony Richardson, in part just because of the injuries. I mean, like you said, he's looked fine. He's thrown the ball really hard. Michael Pittman Jr. likes playing with him, but we really have no sample size to build on with Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, and it's concerning. I guess I'm just scared for the player, just like seeing him get so banged up here in the first few games of his NFL career, because I just have to project outward, because at some point he's going to be asked to play a full 17-game season. At some point, if the Indianapolis Colts are going to do anything during his tenure with them, he's going to have to play a full season. And I just wonder if we're ever going to be able to see a full maximization of everything good that is Anthony Richardson if he's just not able to stay on the field. If you're an Indianapolis Colts fan, you certainly have felt this pain before with Andrew Luck. Hopefully we're not seeing history repeat itself with Anthony Richardson, especially because he's obviously, I mean, just the combine numbers speak for themselves. He's a better athlete than Andrew Luck too. So we kind of want to see that in action. Going back to Bryce Young a little, let's backtrack a little. So I think that there is still hope for Bryce Young. I'm not going to completely write him off quite yet. It is some growing pains, obviously, as you mentioned, for a rookie quarterback, but the size concern has been mentioned as well. You know, the fact that he's also had an injury within the first few weeks of his NFL career. Processing speed just hasn't really been there for him. In a way, he's kind of looked a little overwhelmed through this first early going of the season. I kind of wonder how they're going to work on building that up, because I don't think this season is going to get better for the Panthers in terms of not getting blown out, not getting beat up. I mentioned in another video that I think Brian Burns might be on his way out, because the Panthers at a certain point just also need to maximize trade assets. So they're still rebuilding this team and retooling this team as they go. So losing a DJ Moore, that sucks. That could have been a guy that Bryce Young could have used. You mentioned Christian McCaffrey, losing him. That sucks. That could have been a guy that Bryce Young could have used. But it's also just part of the game. It's trying to work the salary cap. It's trying to get younger, cheaper, talented players. So it's just going to fall a lot of pressure on the GM and Reich, if Reich is going to have longer than a year to be able to draft players around Bryce Young that can fit his skill set. I would say it would only help for them to be back in the top 5. But as you mentioned, they traded away a draft pick to get where they are here. So I don't know. That's probably the downside for the Panthers.
Yeah, I think the Panthers are your classic 3-year project with a quarterback. You know how with like Tua, we were like, year 3 is the big year for Tua. Let's see what he can do. Or year 3 is the big year for Justin Fields. Like, this is going to be a classic 3-year project with Bryce Young. They are going to, over the next 2 years, accumulate talent that will hopefully support, or not. They might not do that because they're the Panthers and they're just a poorly run organization. But they will try to accumulate talent around Bryce Young so that by year 3, he has all of the support that he needs to reach his potential and make that big leap that we saw with Tua, or we're starting to see with Justin Fields, or counterpoint, we didn't see with Baker Mayfield. So that's kind of where Bryce Young is. And that's different than the other rookie quarterbacks. Richardson, the Colts have a puncher's chance of winning the AFC South this year. So like, they're trying to balance developing Richardson with also, hey, we could probably win the AFC South this year if the Jaguars open the window for us. And with the Texans, Stroud might be kind of like Justin Herbert, where like right out the gate, you see the results, you see that he's a franchise quarterback, and then you can work from there. Like with Stroud, we've already seen the results that he might be a 10-year franchise quarterback. With Bryce Young, it's going to be a classic 3-year building project. And who knows? The Panthers might support him. They might not. You're a bigger Adam Thielen guy than I am. I don't think that that's a long-term shot at a number 1 receiver. But
obviously it's not. Obviously, Adam Thielen can't be your wide receiver 1 forever, because Adam Thielen's old. Adam Thielen's old, but he still gets it done. He would be great as a wide receiver 2 on a team that was built to win now. The Panthers decided to offer him all the money in the world that they could to get him. And that's where we are right now with Adam Thielen being the number 1 wide receiver in Carolina. They need, I don't know, like Minnesota, they need a Stephon Diggs. They need a Justin Jefferson to pair alongside him. They could have really used a Marvin Harrison Jr. Doesn't look like they're going to have an opportunity to go get that guy. But yeah, like
exactly right. Like, what if they had been at the top of the draft and could have picked Brock Bowers this year? Like, what if you could have gave Bryce Young Brock Bowers? That would have been so awesome. But they had to trade all of their draft picks to get Bryce Young in the first place, simply because they couldn't tank correctly. They're incapable of tanking correctly. That's been the Panthers' motto for 4 years now.
It's going to be funny knowing that they also made this trade with the Bears, because normally you would look at the Bears and think, oh man, this team, is this going to be like one of the greatest draft heists in NFL history? But then you remember the team that got all the assets and picks out of it was the Bears, and we don't trust them to actually make it happen. I guess if they get Caleb Williams, sure, that's also going to be a weird situation in its own right. Certainly, depending on what Justin Fields does the rest of the year and try and figure out that mess. But yeah, it might just be ultimately a lose-lose trade if this Bryce Young thing just doesn't work for Carolina in general. Maybe, hey, Bobby Slowick, when he gets his NFL head coaching job, maybe it's in Carolina and they can work from there, putting Bryce Young in essentially the Shanahan family offense that continues to dominate the NFL. Because again, CJ Stroud, he seems to be benefiting from that. Like we talk about it every year, right? Kevin O'Connell just making the Vikings offense look amazing. Sean McVay, LaFleur, Shanahan, all these guys coming out of these offenses. Mike McDaniels, can't forget about the shining example this year, the league's favorite son this year, Mike McDaniel looking amazing. I guess when Bobby Slowick gets his chance, who knows? If you're Bryce Young, maybe it's with me, and maybe that's lucky for you. Well, how are you evaluating the rookie quarterbacks, Anthony Richardson, Bryce Young, CJ Stroud? If you had to redraft them today, what order would you put them? Did the Panthers screw this one up? Leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on all our social medias from Juju and Kyle. Stay safe, happy, healthy. We'll see you next time.